You were never just flesh and bone. You were light, wrapped in memory, clothed in time. And when this life, the one you're in right now, reaches its closing breath, you do not vanish. You awaken. There is no final darkness. Only the soft dissolution of the illusion you once called reality. As your body exhales its last, your soul inhales its truth. No sirens, no fanfare, only stillness, only light. And in that stillness, a strange clarity arrives. You remember, not just this life, but many. You remember what it means to exist without fear, what it feels like to see without eyes, to hear without ears, to know without needing proof. There is no calendar in this space, no ticking of clocks. You are not above time. You are beyond it. Some call it the waiting room between lifetimes. Others call it the soul realm. But names don't matter here. What matters is vibration. Here, you are met by the energies that have always walked beside you, but were too subtle for your earthly senses to perceive. Some appear as beings of light, others as deep presence. You'll know them because you knew them before. They are not your judges. They are not your masters. They are your soul companions, older than stars, wiser than ages. And they do not ask, "What did you accomplish?" They ask, "What did you become?" There is no shame here, no punishment, only remembrance, only understanding. Here, you are not weighed, you are witnessed. And so begins the great unfolding. A panoramic vision of the life you just lived plays before you, not like a movie, but like a field of living light, where you don't just watch events, you feel them. You feel the way your words shaped another person's inner world. You feel the ripple of a glance, the echo of an unspoken thought. You feel the pain you caused, yes, but also the healing. The moment you forgave, the times you stayed silent when you could have cursed, the night you held yourself in the dark and chose not to give up. You see your life as a tapestry interwoven with millions of threads, some bright, some tangled, but all sacred. You see that you were never alone. Not once. Even in your loneliest hour, there were presences watching, guiding, waiting for you to remember your origin. And then, when the vision fades, you do not return to sleep. You rise, because now comes the choosing. The soul does not drift aimlessly between lifetimes. It selects, it prepares, it chooses with intention. You do not simply fall into the next life. You step into it with eyes wide open. But before that next step, there is the listening. You listen for your unfinished lessons. You feel where the threads of karma still hum with tension. You sense the echoes of ancient promises. You feel the souls you are still bound, not by force, but by sacred agreement. There is no fear here, only purpose, only truth. And this truth is luminous. It glows with the awareness that every incarnation is a canvas and every soul a divine artist. And you are preparing your next masterpiece. But no artist paints blindly. So you begin to sketch the framework. What shall I learn next? Where is my soul still bound by illusion? What strength lies dormant within me, waiting to be called forth? To answer these, you must choose your teachers. And often, your greatest teachers are the ones you call parents. Not by blood, by soul. You do not always choose them because they are kind. Sometimes you choose them because they are wounded. Because in their shadows, you will find your light. You do not always choose them because they will love you unconditionally. Sometimes you choose them because they will not know how to love at all. And through their absence, you will learn to find love in yourself. These are not punishments. These are initiations. And soon, you will walk deeper into that sacred selection, not just of where, but of who. Because somewhere, on the edge of this sacred stillness, another soul waits for you. Not to complete you, but to awaken you. You have danced with them before, in other lives, other bodies, other names. And when your eyes meet again in the physical realm, you won't remember why, but your soul will. It always does. Let the veil be thin, for what comes next is not chance. It is sacred design. You are not random. You are not lost. You are a traveler between worlds, and the next door is already opening. The light does not interrogate you. It embraces you. It doesn't demand answers. It reveals them. In this sacred place beyond time, your soul is invited into the great mirror, a reflection not of your mistakes, but of your becoming. This is the life review. But don't imagine a tribunal. There are no thrones. No punishments, only presence. You sit in the company of guides, elders of the soul, beings who have walked the spiral of lifetimes, far beyond the earth's memory. And together, you revisit not just the events of your past life, but the energetic truths behind each choice. The moment you chose silence instead of truth, why? The time you left instead of stayed, what was moving you? Each decision carries a vibration. Each vibration echoes into the web of all existence. And so you don't just see what happened, you feel how your choices rippled into others, into their thoughts, their tears, their awakenings. You feel the laughter you gave to strangers, the warmth that reached someone's bones, even when you never knew their name. You feel the heaviness of words said in anger and the liberation of words said in love when it would have been easier to turn away. And with every feeling, you gather more wisdom, not shame, not guilt, wisdom. This is not about blame. It's about balance. Your soul, you see, is a master of equilibrium. It seeks to evolve through experience, not through reward or punishment, but through expansion. And once you've understood the weight and wonder of your last incarnation, you begin to feel a new pull, not backwards, but forward. You begin to feel the next lessons calling, not as mandates, but as soul longings. Maybe you long to understand forgiveness in a way that's no longer theoretical. Maybe you want to learn patience, not just as a virtue, but as a sacred strength woven into your being. Maybe you want to heal an ancient wound in a family line that has cried out for a cycle breaker for generations. So you begin to map it, not a rigid blueprint, but a living map of light filled with potentialities. You choose the setting, not just the geography, but the energy of the place. A war-torn land to understand chaos, a quiet village to remember stillness, a city pulsing with distraction to master focus from within. You choose the era, the generation, because every time on Earth carries its own collective vibration, its own cultural wounds, its own opportunities for awakening. Some souls feel called to incarnate during times of global transition, moments where the veil is thinner, where consciousness is rising, where the Earth herself is in labor, birthing a new paradigm. That time may be now, and perhaps that's why you're here. But the location and time are only the beginning, because now comes the deeper choice. The who. Who will you walk beside? Who will mirror you, challenge you, hold you, break you open? Who will reflect the parts of yourself you've hidden even from your own light? And this is when you begin to feel them. The souls you've danced with before, not always as lovers or friends, sometimes as foes, sometimes as the ones who abandoned you, sometimes as the ones you failed to save. But here, in the soul space, there is no resentment, only remembrance. You see the roles each of you played, and you begin to rewrite the script. I will return as your child this time. You say to a soul who once broke your heart, you will be my brother. You whisper to the one you once betrayed, you will be the teacher who humbles me. You agree with the one who was once your student. And perhaps most tenderly, you feel the presence of a soul you know so deeply. It makes your very essence ache. Your soulmate. Not always the romantic ideal, not always the forever companion, but a soul whose frequency matches yours like a divine chord. They may return for a season, or for the whole journey. They may bring joy, or they may bring fire, but they will bring activation. And in that sacred recognition, your soul breathes in what must come next. The return, back through the veil, back through the forgetting, back into density and time and form. But before you descend, you are offered one final embrace by your soul companions. They remind you that no matter how dark it becomes, the light within you cannot be extinguished. That every challenge is encoded with remembrance, that you will be guided, that you are never truly alone. And with a soul-deep breath, you step forward, through the veil, into the womb of your next mother, into the arms of your next mirror, into the unfolding of your next lesson. Not because you have to, but because your soul chose it, because you are not a victim of fate. You are a conscious creator, dancing in divine rhythm with the music of eternity. You didn't fall into your family by accident. You weren't dropped at random into a mother's womb. Your soul shows, with eyes wide open, with memory intact, with ancient courage burning quietly in your core. Long before your name was spoken aloud, long before your first breath filled your infant lungs, Your soul had already sat in council and said, yes, them, but not because they were perfect, sometimes because they weren't. The soul chooses not what is easy, but what is evolutionary. It selects not comfort, but context, a set of vibrations that will act as catalysts, mirrors, and even storms. Because evolution doesn't always come wrapped in gentle hands. Sometimes it comes wrapped in silence, or in the absence of love. Sometimes it comes through generations of unspoken pain, through ancestral grief that hums beneath the surface, like a forgotten song waiting for a voice. You may wonder why you were born, to a mother who didn't know how to hold you, or to a father who vanished like smoke. You may have asked, why would I choose this? The answer, though painful, is sacred, not to suffer, but to transform. You came to end what others refused to face. You came to rewrite patterns that were passed like heirlooms. You came not to fit the mold, but to shatter it. You see, within every family system exists a web of karmic threads, stories, behaviors, fears, longings, woven across lifetimes. Some of them were stitched by your great-grandmother's silence, some by your grandfather's rage, others by choices made in lifetimes you no longer remember, but whose echo lives in your blood. The soul studies these threads, not with judgment, with purpose. It asks, where can I bring healing? Where am I still entangled? Where can I plant the seed of awakening? In soil long thought barren. And in that sacred calculus, you may choose a lineage full of pain, not because you're cursed, but because you are ready, because you have carried enough light across your incarnations to walk into the fire and come out glowing. This is what it means to be a breaker of chains. And not every soul signs up for this. But you did. Some souls choose nurturing families, spaces where love is spoken freely, where encouragement flows like water. And that too is sacred. For in those gardens, souls come to rest, to integrate, to grow quietly after lifetimes of struggle. But those who come to uproot ancestral suffering, they often choose complexity. Alcoholism, abuse, neglect, addiction, secrets buried beneath generations. You were not weak for being born into that. You were chosen because you chose, and you did not choose alone. There are those on the other side, mentors of spirit, keepers of ancient memory, who walk with you through the planning. They show you the soul lessons encoded in pain. They show you the impact your healing will have, not just on your parents, but on your children and your children's children. You see how your healing becomes a wave, rippling through generations past and future. You see that one moment of forgiveness can shift timelines. And so, with holy courage, you step into the family line, carrying not just your own soul's mission, but the potential to transmute the weight of many. Some will not understand you. That too was foreseen. You may feel like a stranger in your own bloodline, like your soul speaks a language no one else remembers. And that's because it often does. You carry the codes of remembrance. You carry the seed of awakening in a lineage that forgot how to dream. And even if they resist you, even if they reject you, your light still touches them. Because that's the paradox of soul work. It does not require permission. It only requires presence. And even in the families that wound you, there are soul contracts at play. Your mother's inability to love you, it was agreed upon, so that you could learn to love yourself without condition. Your father's abandonment, a mirror to teach you presence, to help you find stability, not in another's arms, but in the stillness of your own spirit. The siblings who mocked you, they played role so that you'd rise, so that you'd remember that your worth was never up for debate. You do not need to remain entangled in the dysfunction to fulfill the contract. The contract is fulfilled the moment you see it with spiritual eyes, the moment you stop asking, why me? And begin to ask, what can this teach me? And in that shift, from victim to visionary, you activate the very reason you incarnated. You break the spell, you rewrite the code, you change the story. This is what the soul knows. When it chooses a mother who cannot protect, a father who cannot stay, a family who cannot see, it knows that even in darkness, you will find the flame. Even in chaos, you will remember the way, because inside you is something older than the wound, older than the trauma, older than the bloodline. It is your soul, and it remembers why you came. Not only did your soul choose your family, it chose the world it would awaken into. The moment in history, the cultural atmosphere, the density and lightness of the collective dream. Because Earth is not just a school for individuals. It is a living organism, a breathing consciousness. And each generation is a wave in its evolution. You are part of that wave. Your soul knew which era would hold the keys to your becoming. It understood that awakening isn't only personal, it's generational. You could have chosen to incarnate centuries ago, in the age of mystics, of temples, of silent wisdom carved into stone. But you chose now, a time of noise, a time of distractions stacked like towers, a time when truth feels like a whisper, buried beneath the roar of everything else. Why? Because this moment is one of profound potential. The veil is thin, the world is shifting, old systems are cracking, and light is seeping through. Your soul saw the fracture and chose to be the bridge. There are no accidents in your timing. Some souls came in the early waves, born into the 20th century, carrying the frequency of survival, rebuilding after war, seeding stability after collapse. Others came during cultural revolutions, when the old ways trembled and new voices rose. They carried the spark of rebellion, the flame of truth. And now, a new wave is arriving. Souls who are here not to maintain, but to transform. You may be part of this wave. You were born into a generation, burdened by contradiction. You've inherited both the ancient traumas and the tools to heal them. You feel the ache of what came before, but also the pull of what could be. You are the hinge between worlds. This is why you may feel displaced. Like the world you were born into doesn't quite make sense. Like your soul is too old for the pace of this timeline. That's not an error. It's an invitation. You carry codes, not just for your own life, but for the evolution of the collective field. You are one of the in-betweeners, bridging old souls and new paradigms, carrying truths that were once spoken in mystery schools into the age of digital speed. That's why your gifts may feel out of place. Your sensitivities may be dismissed. Your visions may not yet be validated. But still, you are here, rooted in this time, in this place, for a reason. Because this era isn't just another tick in history. It's a cosmic turning point. We are in the birth canal of a planetary awakening. And your soul, long before you were born, volunteered, not to watch, to participate, to hold the light when others forget it's even real, to embody truth in a world that monetizes illusion, to speak with clarity even when your voice shakes. But even this timing was not selected alone. Before you incarnated, your soul stood at the edge of the coming timeline. You saw the Earth's future. You felt the currents of potential. You watched how technology would explode faster than wisdom could keep up. You saw the rise of anxiety, the epidemic of disconnection, the hunger for something real in a world full of filters. And still, you said yes, because you knew that within the chaos, there would be cracks in the illusion, and within the cracks, the light would pour through. You knew that people would begin to ask the questions that matter. Who am I? Why am I here? What happens when this life ends? And when they began asking, they would need mirrors, people who remembered, people who could hold space, people who had walked through fire and turned it into flame. You may be one of those mirrors. This is why your soul chose not just your family, but your country, your community, your culture, because every place on earth holds different vibrations, different stories, different shadows, different archetypal challenges. Some souls choose to incarnate into places where spirituality has been silenced, so they can awaken others by remembering. Some choose to be born into cultures of deep ritual and tradition to help preserve the sacred. Some are born into places of wealth and excess to rediscover simplicity. Others into poverty to awaken compassion, resilience, and unshakable presence. There is no superior choice, only resonance. Your soul matched its frequency to the precise conditions that would crack you open into truth. And that truth is never just yours alone. It echoes outward, ripples through generations, inspires others to remember their path. You are not just healing your own life. You are part of a collective weaving, a movement of souls who chose this moment to be present, to rise, to become anchors of the sacred in a world that forgot its name. This is why you are here. Not just to survive history, but to remake it. Not just to heal your past, but to activate a new future. Not alone, never alone. You are part of a soul wave, and together you are birthing a new earth. Before you crossed the veil into this life, you sat with souls whose faces you now see daily, though you may not remember why they stir something ancient in you. The ones you love deeply and the ones who wound you the most, you made agreements with them, not with words, but with vibration, a sacred language your conscious mind forgot, but your soul still remembers. These are your soul contracts. They are not legal documents. They are not binding in the way humans imagine. They are promises made in light to help each other remember what you came here to learn. Some contracts are soft, warm, and nourishing. These are the souls who make you feel like home, the ones whose laughter feels familiar, whose embrace silences the mind. They may be friends, mentors, or even strangers who arrive at the perfect moment and change your life without explanation. Others are jagged, sharp, painful. They come into your life like storms, tearing through your illusion, awakening you by breaking what you thought was whole. It may be the partner who betrayed you, the parent who never saw you, the friend who disappeared when you needed them most. But in the soul realm, before incarnation, you looked into their eyes and said, "If you forget me in this life, I will still love you. If you break me in this life, let it be the breaking that opens me. If I hurt you, may it lead you to your truth." These contracts are not punishments. They are sacred invitations, because every relationship, no matter how brief or difficult, holds a mirror. It shows you where you still hide, where you still long, where you still need to remember. And sometimes, the deepest awakenings come not from the ones who love you well, but from the ones who love you poorly. Because in their absence, you find your presence. In their betrayal, you find your boundary. In their silence, you find your voice. You didn't choose these connections blindly. You chose them because your soul recognized what only time could reveal, that even pain can be a portal. And not all contracts are meant to last a lifetime. Some are meant to ignite you, to teach you, to nudge you just far enough that you remember your wings, then they vanish. And that too is love. Because love in the soul realm is not possession, it is alignment. When the lesson is learned, when the mirror has served its purpose, the contract dissolves. You may feel it, a sudden disconnection, a release, an invisible thread unspooling from your heart. And you'll wonder, how can someone mean everything and then nothing? But the soul does not grieve endings the way the ego does. The soul bows in gratitude, in reverence, in recognition, because even the shortest encounter may carry the seed of transformation. Even the one who walked away was part of the orchestration. And sometimes the contract was never about them at all. It was about you, about the way your heart would shatter so light could enter, about the way your expectations would crumble so truth could be rebuilt. And yet, there are also contracts that stretch across lifetimes. The souls you return to again and again, the ones whose energy pulls you like gravity, familiar even before a word is spoken. Soulmates, twin flames, karmic companions. Each one carries a different song. Soulmates often come gently. They resonate with your spirit, not because they complete you, but because they reflect the parts of you you've already reclaimed. Twin flames come like fire, not to soothe you, but to burn away everything that isn't true. They are not always lovers. They are accelerators. They wake you up with intensity, because your union is not about comfort. It's about activation. Karmic lovers, they arrive with weight, with history, with unfinished stories etched into your bones. They are the ones you can't forget, even when you try. The ones who feel like déjà vu, because they are. These roles shift across lifetimes. Your child in this life may have been your parent in another. Your rival may have once been your sibling. The stranger you helped on the street may have saved your life 5 centuries ago. The soul remembers, even when the mind forgets. And all these interactions, every single one, is part of your soul's journey back to wholeness. Some will challenge you to love more. Some will challenge you to love yourself more. Some will walk beside you, while others walk away. At the exact moment, your soul no longer needs the mirror they hold. None of it is wasted. Nothing is random. Not even the heartbreak. Especially not the heartbreak. Because in this earth school of form and feeling, relationships are the sacred curriculum. They are how the soul learns to become what it already is. Divine. So the next time you feel abandoned, ask not, why did they leave? But what part of me did they awaken? The next time someone triggers your deepest wound, ask not, "Why me?" but, "What is this here to show me?" Your life is not a series of accidents. It is a symphony of agreements. And you, dear soul, are the composer. You have met them before. Though your hands may not recall the texture of their skin, your soul never forgets the frequency of their presence. There are certain souls who enter your life, and immediately the air feels different. Time slows. The noise fades. You feel not like you're meeting them for the first time, but remembering them from somewhere ancient, somewhere beyond this world. This is not romantic fantasy. This is soul recognition. Soulmates are not fairy tales. They are fragments of your original resonance, souls from your soul group, travelers on the same spiral path, who agreed long ago to meet you again. When the time was right, they may come as lovers, as friends, as mentors, even as a stranger on a train who speaks one sentence that shifts the direction of your entire life. When you meet a soulmate, there is often no grand drama, just a deep peace, a magnetic stillness, a feeling of coming home to something you didn't even know was missing. It's not always loud. It's not always lightning. Sometimes it's a soft knowing, a calm in your bones, because their role is not always to awaken you through chaos. Sometimes they awaken you through remembrance. They remind you of your light by simply standing in theirs. But not all connections arrive so gently. There are those that burn, that unravel, that throw you into the deepest depths, only to pull you toward the stars. These are not ordinary companions. These are twin flames, born of the same original soul essence, split into two distinct consciousnesses. Twin flames are less about romance and more about reckoning. They come to show you everything you are and everything you're still afraid to become. Meeting a twin flame can feel like lightning in your veins. Your shadows rise to the surface. Your illusions shatter. They mirror your fears, your wounds, your divinity. And it is not always easy, because they do not come to comfort you. They come to ignite you. The twin flame journey is not about union. It is about integration. It's about triggering your healing so that you can become whole within yourself. Only then can true union even be possible. Some twin flames come into your life just long enough to light the match, to set fire to your false identities, to burn down the old self so the real you can rise from the ash. Others stay, but only when both have done the sacred work. If you meet them and try to cling, you'll find the connection turns volatile, because the bond was never meant to be possessed. It was meant to purify. And yet, even the flames are sacred. Even the karmic lovers, those whose presence feels magnetic but unstable, serve a divine role. They show you your patterns. They hold a mirror to your attachment wounds. They reflect your inner child's deepest needs. You're drawn to them not because of who they are, but because of what they activate. And when the activation is complete, you'll feel the shift. The pull becomes a release. The obsession dissolves. The lesson is done. You've graduated the frequency. But how do you know which soul is which? How do you discern the sacred companion from the temporary catalyst? There is no formula, only feeling. Soulmates bring peace. Even when challenges arise, there is a core of mutual respect, of soul-deep calm. Your nervous system softens in their presence. Twin flames bring fire. Your growth accelerates. Your fears surface. It is as if life presses fast forward on every unresolved emotion within you. Karmic lovers bring repetition. The same lessons, the same pain cycles, until you learn what must be unlearned. And soul companions? They are the unsung heroes. The ones you never romanticize. The sibling who stood by you. The teacher who saw you. The friend who loved you without needing anything in return. They are soulmates too, and their presence is no less divine. Because not every sacred bond is meant to be forever. Some are here to guide you to the next chapter, to be a single note in your symphony, to hold the lantern. As you walk a path only you can walk. The mistake is thinking that love must always last, to be meaningful. But in the soul realm, duration is irrelevant. Resonance is everything. And the deepest recognition of all? It's not when you see yourself in another. It's when you see the source in them, the same source that lives within you. Because all these connections, every soulmate, twin flame, karmic bond, they are not external pieces of your puzzle. They are reflections, opportunities, activators. But your soul's true union is not with another. It is with itself. And once that union begins, once you begin to remember your wholeness, you stop searching for someone to complete you. Instead, you start attracting those who mirror the wholeness you've already claimed. That is the ultimate soul contract. To love not from need, but from truth. To walk beside another soul, not to fill the void, but to amplify the light. This is the mystery of soul connections. They come not to bind you, but to free you. And the more you heal, the more you remember, the more aligned the companions become. It's not magic, it's vibration. And your vibration, dear soul, is rising. You came here with a map, not a rigid path, not a fixed script, but a living, breathing blueprint, etched in light before you were born. This map did not come with straight lines. It came with curves, intersections, detours and doorways, keys hidden within heartbreak, and staircases disguised as failure. It's tempting to believe everything is predestined, that your suffering was written in stone, that your success was fated. But the truth is more profound than fate. The soul creates the plan, but you choose how to walk it. Free will is not an obstacle to your destiny. It's the engine of your evolution. Imagine your soul plan as a constellation, a cluster of stars placed in sacred geometry. Each star is a potential moment, a destined meeting, a lesson your soul longed to integrate. But how you get from star to star, that's yours. That's the artistry of incarnation. Some souls follow the most direct route. They awaken early, they listen deeply, they move in rhythm with their higher self. Others wander. They fall asleep inside their own story. They resist, forget, delay. But nothing is wasted, because every choice, even the ones made in fear, eventually circles back to the light. This is the compassion of the universe. There are infinite paths to the same remembrance. You cannot miss your destiny. You can only delay your own knowing. And delay itself becomes part of the learning. The soul plan is not punishment. It's not reward. It's resonance. You chose the themes before birth. You chose the challenges, the initiations, the gifts you would carry, the shadows you would face. But how you respond to those themes, that is the holy dance. Will you stay bitter when life disappoints you? Or will you seek the wisdom behind the pain? Will you cling to comfort? Or will you step into the unknown when your soul whispers, go? Every time you choose truth over illusion, every time you listen to your intuition, instead of your fear, you align with the original intention of your soul. And when you don't, the soul does not condemn you. It simply waits. It redirects. It places a new mirror in your path. Another moment, another face, another chance to remember. This is why life seems to repeat itself. When you ignore the lesson, that relationship that feels too familiar, that job that empties you the same way the last one did, that wound that keeps reopening, these aren't punishments, they're invitations. The soul is gentle, but persistent. It will offer the same lesson until it's fully seen, fully felt, fully transmuted. And the moment you say, I see it now, the pattern dissolves, the wheel stops turning. Because the lesson was never meant to trap you. It was meant to free you. You see, your soul isn't keeping score. It's not waiting to tally your success. It's watching to see if you wake up, if you feel, if you expand. This is the beauty of free will. You can fall asleep 1,000 times and still be welcomed back into the arms of your own becoming. There is no deadline, only direction. And even in your detours, you are collecting wisdom. Even in your mistakes, you are embodying depth. Sometimes, the long way around is the most important part of the journey, because you meet versions of yourself there that would have remained undiscovered. On the shortcut, there's an elegance in divine timing, and it often has nothing to do with speed. So if you've ever asked, did I mess up my soul path? The answer is no. You are exactly where you need to be. To remember, there are no wrong roads, only roads that take longer to lead you back to the truth. And the truth is this: you are not a puppet of destiny. You are a co-creator. Your soul planned the stage, but you write the dialogue. You choose the tone, the texture, the frequency. You choose whether your story will be one of survival or one of resurrection. And every time you choose love over fear, every time you step toward alignment, you light up a piece of your map. Synchronicities appear, doors open, the right people show up, the air changes, because the soul recognizes alignment and the universe responds. You are not drifting, you are navigating, with more wisdom than you know. And the compass? It's not in your mind. It's in your heart, in the tingles, the chills, the quiet knowing, in the joy that appears for no reason. When you are doing something your soul remembers. Trust that. Trust the nudges. Trust the turns. Trust that even when you feel lost, you are being rerouted to something deeper. The soul doesn't punish. It orchestrates. It moves mountains behind the veil to align you with what you asked for before you were born. But you must say yes. Yes to the hard conversations. Yes to the leap that terrifies you. Yes to the letting go of what you've outgrown. That is how destiny is fulfilled. Not by waiting, but by walking. So walk. Walk your path with open eyes, with tender courage, with the knowing that the map is still unfolding beneath your every step. Some lives are carved in fire, not because the soul is being punished, but because the soul is being forged. Not every path is soft. Not every journey is marked by gentleness and grace. Some souls choose storms. Some souls choose silence. Some souls choose to enter this world through the wound, not the womb. They arrive into chaos, into poverty, into violence, into abandonment. And from the outside, it may seem cruel, unjust, a cosmic mistake. But from the soul's perspective, it is something far more profound. Because there are souls who come to earth, not just to learn, but to liberate. They are not here for comfort. They are here for combustion, to burn away what no longer serves humanity, to transmute generational trauma, to break ancient cycles of suffering. These are the spiritual warriors, and their initiation is pain. Not meaningless pain, alchemical pain. Pain that breaks open their compassion, their purpose, their power. These souls do not fear suffering. They choose it, not because they enjoy it, but because they understand its role in awakening. Like iron in flame, they are shaped by intensity, and their strength is not surface level. It is cellular. It is encoded in the marrow of their being. These are the ones who survive what should have destroyed them, the ones who rise from ashes with gold in their bones. They are not broken, they are tempered. And while others may walk easier roads, these souls agreed to carry more weight, not as martyrs, but as healers. Healers of bloodlines, healers of cultures, healers of unseen wounds. Sometimes they are born into families where love is a foreign language. They grow up learning how to read energy, how to sense danger in the silence, how to navigate emotional minefields. Their intuition sharpens early. Their empathy grows deep roots. And though their childhood may be marked by instability, their soul is building resilience. Not the kind that hardens, but the kind that softens in the face of pain and still chooses to love. They are the ones who can sit with others in darkness because they have known it intimately. They become the light, not by avoiding the shadow, but by integrating it. This is why their energy feels ancient, why they seem older than their years. They've been initiated by sorrow. They've been crowned in silence. But the world often misunderstands them, calls them too sensitive, too intense, too much, because the world is not always ready for those who carry depth. But you, if this is you, must know this. You are not too much. You are precisely calibrated for the mission your soul chose. And yes, that mission may feel lonely, because not everyone can walk with you. Not everyone can meet you where you are. You may feel like an alien in your own family, like your very presence triggers others. And it does, because your vibration disrupts denial. It reflects what others are not yet ready to see. You carry truth in a world built on comfort. You carry light in spaces addicted to shadow. But you're not here to be liked. You're here to be true, to walk in integrity, to speak the unspeakable, to hold space for transformation, even when it's messy, even when it hurts. And it will hurt. Let no one tell you otherwise. The spiritual warrior's path is not pain-free. It is pain-illuminated. Each scar becomes a symbol. Each breakdown becomes a portal. And over time, the wounds become wisdom. You begin to see how the abuse taught you boundaries, how the loss taught you presence, how the betrayal taught you discernment, how the illness taught you to listen to your body, to revere it not as a machine, but as a temple. And then something holy begins to happen. You stop asking, why me? And you start asking, what now? You stop defining yourself by what happened to you, and start embodying who you became because of it. You see yourself not as a victim of life, but as an alchemist of experience. Because even in your darkest hour, you were never abandoned. You were becoming. And now, your presence is medicine. Your story becomes a lantern. Your heart becomes a compass. For others still wandering through their own shadows, you were not sent to fix everything. You were sent to become something, to embody the truth. That transformation is possible. And when you do, when you stand fully in the light you carved from your own pain, you break chains, you end cycles, you make it easier for the next soul to breathe. That is legacy. That is soul work. That is warriorhood. So if you've lived a life that felt heavier than most, if you've endured more than your fair share of sorrow, know this: you are not cursed, you are called. And the fire that once threatened to consume you, you now carry it in your eyes. The universe has always been speaking to you, not with words, but with patterns, with symbols, with whispers that echo in the quiet corners of your life. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it dances. Through timing, through numbers, through dreams, through the gentle unfolding of events that feel too precise to be mere coincidence. These are not accidents, they are alignments. They are synchronicities. When your soul begins to wake up, when you start to walk in rhythm with your blueprint, life responds. And that response feels like magic. You think of someone, and they call. You're contemplating a question, and a stranger speaks the answer. You keep seeing the same number, the same animal, the same word, as if reality is weaving something into your awareness, just beneath the veil of logic. And it is. Synchronicity is the language of resonance. It is the echo of your soul's vibration, rippling outward into the field of reality, and finding its way back to you, not to impress you, but to affirm you. You are on the path. You are not lost. You are being seen. Sometimes, the signs are subtle. A song lyric that pierces your chest. A feather on the ground when you asked for guidance. A sudden chill. A flicker in the lights. A presence you can't explain, but feel. Other times, they're undeniable. Dreams that carry messages you couldn't have made up. Encounters that change your life. A detour that leads you exactly where you needed to go. These are the breadcrumbs left by your soul and by the guides who walk with you. You are not making it up. You are tuning in. And the more you pay attention, the more the signs appear. Because attention is a kind of devotion, and devotion attracts guidance. There is an invisible intelligence woven through everything. It responds not to the mind's logic, but to the heart's openness. When you begin to move from the soul, when your intentions align with your deeper truth, the universe meets you there. It moves people. It shifts timelines. It reroutes your delays into divine appointments. That missed train? It wasn't a mistake. It was a pause. So, your energy could align with something greater. That relationship that fell apart? It was a redirection. Not just away from someone else, but back into yourself. The moment you begin to trust the unseen, you stop needing every answer. You stop demanding proof. You start walking with faith. And faith is not blind. It's attuned. It feels the yes beneath the surface. It listens for the not yet inside the delay. It knows that if a door closes, it wasn't your door, or it's being prepared from the inside. This is what it means to live in alignment. Not a life free of pain, but a life full of presence. You begin to recognize that everything, even the setbacks, are sacred, that the heartbreaks, the losses, the endings, were not interruptions. They were instructions. They cleared the field for something more true to arrive. And when it does, you'll know, because it won't feel like striving. It will feel like remembering. That job, that city, that person, it will feel strangely familiar. Like you've been there before. Like your soul left a note in the future. And now you've found it. You are not chasing. You are aligning. And the signs will keep showing up, not because you're doing something special, but because you're finally listening. There's a reason the same animal keeps crossing your path. There's a reason you keep seeing 111, 444, 777. There's a reason that dream keeps repeating with symbols you barely understand. Look closer, feel deeper. You are in conversation with the divine. You always have been. And when you get quiet enough, you'll hear it clearly, not in thunder, but in the way your body relaxes around truth, in the way your chest expands when you're about to make the right decision, in the knowing that can't be explained, only trusted. And yes, sometimes you'll doubt. Sometimes you'll wonder if you're crazy, if you're reading too much into it. But even that doubt is a part of the path, because faith, real faith, is not certainty. It's a relationship. It's a willingness to keep showing up, to keep asking, to keep receiving, even when the answers don't come on your timeline. Especially then, because the universe is not in a rush. It's in alignment. And if something hasn't arrived yet, maybe it's not you who isn't ready. Maybe it is still becoming. So pay attention to the nudges, to the symbols, to the mysterious way life keeps leading you back to yourself. And when something inside you lights up, a tingle, a tear, a soft exhale, follow it. That's your soul saying yes. There is a realm beyond the visible, a vast archive not built with bricks or bound with thread, but woven in light, etched across the invisible fabric of the cosmos. The ancients knew it. Mystics felt it. You have touched it in dreams you couldn't explain, in déjà vu that grip your chest, in that deep, wordless knowing. I've been here before. They called it the Akashic Records. Not a book, but a field of living memory. A soul library containing the essence of every choice you've made across eternity. Each lifetime, each heartbreak, each triumph, each time you said yes to love, and each time you turned away from it. All of it is there, not to shame you, but to remind you. And when your soul enters that sacred space between one life and the next, it returns to that place of remembrance. The records open like a great breath, welcoming you back. You do not read them with your eyes. You absorb them with your being. You feel why you chose the challenges. You understand why that one soul had to break your heart. You see the intricate web connecting lifetimes, families, cultures, and timelines. The friend who betrayed you in this life. You see how, lifetimes ago, you did the same, and this time was your opportunity to forgive instead of retaliate. The body you were born into, you see why it was chosen, with all its imperfections and beauty, its inherited wounds and sacred potential. The childhood you endured, you understand how it shaped your mission. Not as punishment, but as preparation. Your soul did not forget, only you did. Because forgetting is part of the sacred veil, part of what makes remembering so profound. And now, perhaps that veil is lifting. Perhaps this message is a nudge from your higher self, a page fluttering open in your own Akashic record, inviting you to look again, to remember that this life is not random. It is written, not in fate, but in frequency. You chose this life because it contained exactly what your soul needed to evolve. You chose this body, this timeline, this family, this generation, because it would challenge you, awaken you, refine you into something golden. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's messy, but it is not meaningless. And if you ever doubt that, look at how far you've already come. Look at how you've survived. At the wisdom growing quietly in your bones. That wisdom, it's a sign you've already accessed your records, maybe without even knowing it. Because the Akashic field is not far away. It lives within you. It is you. Every time you follow your intuition, every time you trust the knowing that can't be explained, you are remembering a soul truth, written long before this body was born. And now I invite you, not just to listen, but to speak. What moments in your life felt too connected to be coincidence? What dreams have returned again and again? What have you remembered that others told you to forget? Share your story in the comments. Your memory may awaken someone else's placing cess. Your words may be the mirror another soul needs. And if this message stirred something in you, if it helped you see your path through a new lens, please like this video to help it reach other seekers and subscribe to Path to the Unknown for more transmissions just like this, soul-mapped, heart-led, and guided by the unseen. This channel is a sanctuary for those who remember that the world is more than what we are told it is. And before you go, let me leave you with a question, not to answer with your mind, but to feel with your whole being. What if your entire life is not a journey toward truth, but a journey back to a truth your soul already knew? What if you didn't come here to learn who you are, but to remember it? What would change if you saw every pain, every joy, every quiet moment in between as a chapter in a story you yourself began writing? Long before your first breath? Let that question echo as you walk back into the world, And the next time you feel lost, look not outside, but inward. The map has always been within you. You are not wandering, you are returning. This is path to the unknown, and the path has only just begun.